Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here because we are looking at a fascinating breakdown of how our world is rapidly, and I mean fundamentally, changing. At the very foundation of all investing is one universal goal. We all just want to preserve the value of our hard-earned money over time, right? But the way we're actually going to do that is about to undergo a massive transformation. We are moving far beyond the traditional playbook today. This Explainer is going to completely change how you view the raw materials that keep our modern world spinning. Okay, let's dive into this. What is the most critical asset for the next decade? Now, almost everybody is familiar with standard stocks, bonds, real estate properties, maybe even high-end collectibles. But we need to shift our focus entirely away from those traditional avenues. The true foundational wealth of the next 10 years isn't going to be built on just software updates or standard corporate bonds. No, it's going to be built on the literal, physical building blocks of our planet.
Section 1. Unlocking the Commodities Market.
The commodities landscape essentially rests on 5 major pillars. We've got grain and oil seeds, livestock and meat, forest, fiber, and food, precious and industrial metals, and finally, energy products. Pretty much every tangible good traces back here. It's like a giant puzzle. But if this market is so incredibly vast, why aren't everyday retail investors deeply involved in it?
Well, most of us know how to invest in gold and silver because there's a highly established retail market for it. You can easily buy a simple silver bar or a standard coin, take it home, and lock it up in a safe. Boom, done. But agriculture, that presents massive retail market friction. Think about it. Taking physical delivery of wheat or corn is a logistical nightmare. The transport and storage costs alone for a retail investor trying to store literal silos of grain are just prohibitive.
Actually, while we're on the topic of physical metals, here is a really practical takeaway from the source material. If you do choose physical ownership of gold and silver, which is still a very reasonable strategy, you absolutely want to stick to simple bars or standard coins. Avoid jewelry and collectible pieces. They come wrapped in high premiums and hefty fees that will significantly eat into your long-term returns. Keep it simple, keep it standard. So how do we solve that prohibitive retail friction for the bulkier stuff? The source offers a really practical workaround. Direct equity investment in high-quality companies that are already operating within these sectors. Instead of trying to buy the raw materials directly and dealing with the headache of storing them, just look at the companies handling them. Let them deal with the logistics and the shipping.
Section 2. AI and the Energy Shift, Powering the Future.
We're going to shift our focus away from physical metals and agriculture for just a moment to talk about energy. Specifically, the massive, unseen energy demands of the modern, increasingly digital world we are building. When we look at energy, we really have a tale of 2 timelines. Oil and gas might still create short-term opportunities driven by geopolitical tensions, war, and supply chain disruptions. But the true long-term growth horizon, that relies heavily on the gradual move toward renewable energy.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why renewable energy is poised for such a dramatic rise. We are entirely in the age of artificial intelligence now. Step 1, AI systems are growing at an unprecedented rate. Step 2, to support them, massive, large-scale data centers have to expand. Step 3, these data centers require absolutely staggering amounts of electricity and infrastructure, which naturally leads us to Step 4, the renewable energy boom. AI literally cannot exist without a staggering amount of power.
What this all means is that the future of tech is inextricably linked to the future of energy. As global energy demand continually increases just to feed these artificial intelligence systems, renewable energy providers aren't just a green alternative anymore. They are positioned to become major, indispensable players in the future economy. They are the ones who are going to be tasked with keeping the lights on for our entire digital infrastructure.
Section 3. The Coming Food Crisis, a Foundation Shift.
Now, while technology is rapidly advancing, our most basic foundational needs remain exactly the same as they were thousands of years ago. We still have to eat. The source identifies an unseen gold mine here: grains and agricultural products. Over the next decade, basic food security is projected to become one of the absolute most important political and economic issues of our future. It's going to play a crucial role in global stability.
Our global food production system is basically acting like a pressure cooker right now. We are dealing with climate change, frequent natural disasters, geopolitical conflicts, and totally disrupted supply chains. Every single one of these factors places immense structural pressure on our ability to simply grow enough food for everybody.
So, the crucial point is the terrifying math we are left with. On one side, we have a strained supply, where production is constantly threatened by climate and conflict without any immediate, meaningful solutions in sight. On the exact opposite side, we have surging demand. The human need for food is continuously rising right alongside rapid global population growth. It is a fundamental bottleneck of decreasing reliable supply, crashing directly into skyrocketing human demand.
This is really where finance merges with geopolitical survival. The source states, and I quote, "Future conflicts may not only be about oil and energy. Food and clean water may become equally strategic resources." Let that sink in for a second. The wars of the future might not be fought over what powers our cars, but over what fuels our bodies.
Section 4. Ethics of Future Resources. Managing the Future. Now we are going to merge the high-tech AI discussion from earlier with the very primitive, earthy reality of potential food and water shortages we just discussed. Because as AI becomes more integrated into our economic and governmental systems, societies are likely going to rely on AI-driven optimization and resource management. Algorithms are likely to be the ones tasked with managing our critical, dwindling agricultural and water supplies in the years ahead.
If an AI is managing the supply chain, how will it distribute resources? How will it manage human inequality? And how will it respond to acute shortages? These aren't just abstract philosophical concepts to ponder in a classroom. These are long-term structural challenges that are going to fundamentally reshape our economies, our politics, and our financial markets for sure. Which leaves us with this final, profound question to really chew on. When artificial intelligence is ultimately forced to manage our most scarce survival resources, who will get what when the food and water run low? It is a striking collision of AI ethics, global food security, and investment strategy that we will all have to navigate in the coming decade. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking the big questions, and I will see you next time.